All right, we are live. I was going to put the intro to Tactical Manager, but this ain't Tactical Manager TV. You
Nope.
noticed that I was waiting for. I was gonna put the intro, and then I was like, wait a second, wait a second. This is not Tactical Manager TV, so I can't put the intro. They were watching the Seleção Brasileira, so we got this artwork going on. I'm gonna keep the Tactical Manager logo up there above your head because
Brand
I mean
recognition.
yeah, not just that. It's too like that's where it all comes from, right? That's
hmm
essentially how we started this a long time ago, me and Dustin. And but Chris, how you doing? Long time no see here.
It's been a while. Yeah, good to be around. Good to be talking national team football for the first time in a while for us here since a lot. It's felt like forever since the last international couple of games, and usually I like these breaks, unlike most sort of like European centric like fans of the sport. But uh, been an interesting window so far. Very pleasant surprise with the result last week against Colombia, who it's very surprising. They've been on kind of a downward spiral over the last 5 games that they played. They with the Brazil loss, they've basically lost 4 out of their last
And
5 and dropped
Uruguay
to 6th.
too.
Yeah,
Uruguay's been shitting the bed lately as well.
yeah. 3 draws, a loss, and then yeah, the draw to Bolivia today, which again they were in La Paz, so that's like an automatic cheat code for the Bolivians there. So shithousery at its finest there.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing about this lineup too today is well, Argentina obviously doesn't have Messi; he's injured, so he's out. Lautaro Martinez is another player that's not available
Yeah,
for Argentina. They do.
He's recuperating, so they're going with Alvarez up front, and then kind of basing that with Almada. And I did hear they did bring DePaul into the lineup to start this time around too to kind of help sort some of that.
Yeah, and I watched their game against Uruguay. They really struggled to create in that game. They really did because you don't have Messi. You no longer have Di Maria, and then you don't have Lautaro as an option, even though Lautaro is not a locked-in starter for them. And they ultimately were able to defeat Uruguay with a beautiful goal from actually Thiago Almada,
Mm-hmm.
former Botafogo player, former MLS player too.
Yep.
Looking at these two lineups, and I'm going to talk about Brazil here in a second. It looks well. I mean, you do have obviously Rafinha, Rodrigo, and Vinicius there, but these are kind of like pragmatic soccer terrorist lineups. If you look at it, Argentina, where's the creativity going to come from? Like Almada, I don't think McAllister is the playmaking type, in my opinion. Like a Messi can be, like even Almada or Lo Celso, for all the matters. Lo
Mm-hmm.
Celso is a better playmaker. Then
Yeah.
you have Julian Alvarez. You could Brazil, the double pivot right there, Andre and Joelinton. These are workhorses.
Yeah. I do
I
think
mean,
there's something there with some inspired play in terms of a starting lineup, some inspired choices from Dorival for once, even though putting Mateus Cunha up front instead of Endrick, again, I don't get it, but I guess we'll roll with it and see what happens.
well, didn't he say it was because he was taller? It's funny that you mentioned that
Man,
because I literally just made a video that's like 20 minutes of me shitting on Brazilian coaches.
I know it is on the channel. In fact, you can watch it after the stream.
And Chris, that was trimmed down because originally my script was like 35, 40 minutes shitting on coaches. Then there's also Dustin's editing that'll make it even shorter. I could probably shit on them for 2 hours if I really, really
Yeah,
wanted to.
no, we have a track record of watching Brazilian football to where we can point out every single one of these guys that have been like past their coaching primes for the past 20 years and just hop from job to job in Brazilian Serie A, Serie B, Serie C, depending, and point out exactly where they went wrong.
Yeah, and today, any of the Americans in the chat, I see you guys there, and we all love you all very much. You guys are the loyal viewers of Tactical Manager that Chris probably even recognizes a few in the chat.
To an extent,
Um,
yes. Hello, everybody.
so if you guys will learn a lot about South American soccer, because we're not going to be talking too much about the U.S. men's national. Also, I feel like we all need a clock out from the U.S. men's national team for a few weeks, right? So let's talk about CONMEBOL today. So first and foremost, for the lineups I'm seeing, the players on the field, DePaul, Paredes, Otamendi is still there for some reason, Emi Martinez, Joe Ellington, Andre, Murilo. This is going to be a brawl It's going to be a fight.
Mhm.
Don't expect a pretty game. I know people, when they think of Brazil and Argentina, they think of like players with technical ability, flair, players that are enjoyable to watch. But very often, Brazil and Argentina, it's more
No.
of a fist fight than an actual game.
Yes. There is a lot of history here, and more often than not, it degrades into being like superly aggressive, physical style football. It's been an ongoing thing for decades at this point for these games, and usually these qualifiers tend to have that. There's also been the issues from the last time that these two did play each other in qualifiers where there was a situation with Argentinian fans and Brazilian police and just a mess that was happening in the stands during that time as well too. So I'm sure the Argentinians have not forgotten about that. And given how Brazilian police is with Brazilians, I completely kind of get their rancor and rage out of that specifically.
Yeah. Also, everything that has happened between Brazil and Argentina, a few of them you've mentioned. Not so long ago, we even had Argentine players getting deported mid-game. So,
Yep.
so there's been a lot of bizarre things happening. And when we talk about that, most of these stories, when people are like, "Oh, it's Brazil's fault, it's Argentina's fault," the fact of the matter is, most of the time, it's both of their faults. They
Yes.
both like mess up on in one. Sometimes there's more blame from one to another, for sure.
But they escalate it. Both sides do. It's kind of
it's usually like who starts and who escalates it. That's usually how it goes.
But yeah, for those who are asking about where to watch it, I know Fubo TV has it, Telemundo has it. I'm watching it on VIX, which I think is associated with Telemundo. So that's how I'm watching it on the computer here on the other screen.
Yeah, and just for one thing to say, the matchups or the records between Brazil and Argentina, it's actually quite balanced. Brazil has won 46. There's been around 20 something draws, and Argentina has won like 42. So it's very close, right? But Brazil has not scored against Argentina since the Super Clásico de las Américas in June of 20. Sorry. They haven't scored against Argentina since the 2019 Copa America, where Brazil won 2-0. That was the last time Brazil scored against Argentina.
But
So
at the same time, between the two teams in question, just their history as well too, it's been a situation in which Brazil hasn't dropped a result to Argentina in a couple of years as well, from what I recall reading a little bit earlier. So again, there's that balance between both teams in question here. So don't be too surprised if it ends up being a cagey, like 1-1 or 0-0 affair with the way that these two teams play, especially as we've mentioned with Argentina not having Messi, and in my opinion, their actually most important player right now in their current lineup, which is Lautaro Martinez to me. Without him, I mean, Alvarez is very good, but just him by himself is sort of like their most creative player. As just where's the outside of Alvarez, who else is going to be creating these chances? It seems like we're in for more of a physical fight than anything.
Yeah. And I mean, Thiago Almada can be dangerous. McAllister, DePaul is more of like a brawler, and he's there.
Yeah.
It could be also one of those, like when we lost to Argentina last time, where it's just like a set piece.
Yep.
Like a 1-0 set piece. I could see something like that. It can go either way. Based on Brazil's performances the past 24 months or so, and the fact that this game is in Argentina, and both teams are missing key players. So it's not like Argentina's missing Messi, and you talk about Lautaro. Brazil's technically missing Neymar. That is a player that'll be there. Bruno Guimarães. Bento is on goal, so we don't have Alisson. Also, he's not available. So they're both missing some important players, even though I think Brazil's missing less, right? You look at that, at least the middle front three right there, like Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Rafinha, that's more or less the best three right there right now, because Neymar is not fit ever at this point. So and so look, I think it's mostly what you said. It's a game that I don't see it having more than 2 goals, probably like a 0-0, 1-1, or 1-0, something like that. Very close, very tight. Maybe a team can get like a 2-0 win in transition, get a second goal if they have the lead. But I do think Argentina are the favorites here if it was to pick one to win. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Brazil, because just like with the U.S., I have a hard time like betting against any of my own countries. So I'm going to go 1-0 Brazil. But I'm not saying this out of like very high optimism.
Yeah. I think for me in particular, I'm going with a 1-1 prediction. I do think both teams still have enough talent to at least score one each, especially with Allison being out and Bento still being unproven. I do think the Argentinians will find a way to get at least one.
He's playing in
past
Saudi
them.
Arabia. Is that what it is?
He's playing over where was it again? I thought he went to Leon for some reason, but no, that's Lucas
No,
Peggy
not
that I'm
Bento.
thinking of.
Bento's in Al Nasser, like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay, yeah, he is. You're right. He's currently at Al Nasser.
I think
somebody-
the one you're thinking, Chris, is the
Lucas
goalkeeper from
Perry.
Botafogo, Lucas Perry, the Botafogo.
Yeah, that's what I was
And he's
thinking of,
good.
yeah.
He's good.
He it's weird seeing him go from Atlético Paranaense as far as last year, and then now he's at Al Nassr instead. So he's getting his bag early, and then maybe he transitions that into Europe. He's still really, really young, so at 25. So there is that.
Yeah, he could, as a goalkeeper, that's super young. So he could go to Europe when he's like 28, 29, and he'll be probably super rich by then playing in Saudi Arabia. And the Monumental is packed and it's loud. You guys can see it right there. The game may be a brawl and it may not be pretty, but one thing is for sure. And as much as I'm not a fan of Argentina, I don't really like Argentina that much. I do have to admire how passionate and how crazy their fans are for the national team, for club. Something that I'm going to be honest with you, the Brazilian national team, when they play at home, the fan base is not that great.
It's not, over the last few years, it's not been that great. And it's almost like there's a certain level of apathy at this point with the Brazilians in the fact that it's, I don't know if they just don't turn up until World Cups happen or what have you with it, but it's definitely been very noticeable in the last, I think, 2 World Cup cycles where any sort of like home World Cup qualifier games and what have you has just not been the same kind of like noise that we usually see from other South American countries. No, it's definitely been a little more noticeable than usual on that.
No, Thiago Martins is saying, "Hola, attack. Hopefully it's a good match. We need that. Hopefully we get the win, Thiago." I don't, like Chris said it better than myself, but I'll say it again. I don't expect it to be a good game. I expect it to be a brawl. So if anyone's here looking for like rainbow flicks and nutmegs and golazos, that is very unlikely today.
And if it happens, somebody's getting an elbow immediately after said rainbow flick happens.
That can happen, or just a random elbow for no reason. That too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
hey, a man of taste right here.
Look at this. He said Dorival needs to go. Look, in my opinion, it's not like Dorival's job with Brazil has been horrendous in terms of what he's done. I just don't think he's good enough to take Brazil to that next level to win the World Cup. I think Brazil has the players to win the World Cup, but if they're going to want to win it, they're going to need a better coach. And I've talked about this in the video. We literally released the video talking about how bad Brazilian coaches are and diving into like reasons and theories of why it is like that. And then many people in the comment section were saying, what about Felipe Luis? He's doing a great job with Flamengo. Guys, listen, and Chris, you let me know if you agree with me on this. Flamengo over the past, actually, as far as even when I was a kid, I've always seen Flamengo as this streaky team. When they catch fire and their fan base pushes them forward, they win. Oh, yeah. And when they start to lose, it's pretty bad every time.
Oh, man. Like, don't get me wrong. When they are, like, as you mentioned, when they're hot, holy shit, they're nearly unfucking stoppable. And then they somehow have, like, one of the best academies in the country as well, too, that just unearth these incredible, like, strikers, wingers, and all of that in particular. But when they are not in their best phases, they usually end up drifting along, like, 4th, 5th places and what have you. I don't think they're as streaky as some of the other Rio de Janeiro teams like Vasco da Gama, Fluminense, or Botafogo. But yeah, Flamengo can be pretty streaky from time to time. Like,
the thing is, when they win trophies, like especially lately, right? They either win like everything, like with Jorge Jesus, and then they lose everything right after. And then they won the Brazilian Cup and Libertadores with Dorival. They usually don't win one. They just like win it all. They dominate, and then
they'll do domestic doubles at the very least, or a domestic title and a continental title like the Libertadores, and then after that it's they'll go on the drought for like 2 to 3 years and then repeat the cycle all over again. But to the point of Dorival, it's very much a situation in which they asked him to come in to clean up the mess of like all these interim coaches and all the post Tite like hangover that they had from the World Cup. And to Dorival's credit, he did that. 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5. It's nothing to sniff at the very least. It gets Brazil back within sort of that top 4 of the CONEMBOL qualifications and such. But for the 2026 World Cup, if you want any semblance of hope of getting Brazil past this quarterfinals curse that they've been having over the last 3 cycles, Dorival Jr. is not the right manager for them.
Well, and on top of all of that too, it's just kind of like he was brought in because Brazil failed to bring Ancelotti. Brazil was holding interims, hoping they would get Carlo Ancelotti, and that didn't really go well. I'm not sure why. And then Dorival became the. So they also tried Fernando Diniz, which I remember when they were trying Fernando Diniz, and everyone was talking about how his ideas are brilliant and the way he sees the game. It's like, I've seen that guy crash out with every team. They were just hyping him because Fluminense had
won the
run.
Libertadores,
yeah.
Exactly.
They were also, if Palmeiras didn't mess up that semifinals, Palmeiras would have beat Fluminense in the final. They messed up
fully agreed.
So,
yeah.
Fernando Diniz is not that good. Like, I understand his ideas and I kind of like it, but it's outdated.
Good run here, initially going to the box, and the pass into the final third didn't quite.
What minute are you at? What minute are you?
I'm at 2:22 right now on the
Holy
stream.
Crap.
Vix is kind of like fixing their stuff up. The feed is incredible that I have on it for it. I'll give them their due, but yeah.
What is the other channel? It's Telemundo that they said?
Yeah, Telemundo is airing it on TV, yes. And then Vix is like the online subscription that I'm using that has the feed from them.
Yeah, I'll try to get it here too because holy crap,
of course.
I'm like 30 seconds behind.
And I think Thiago just sent another super chat asking me if I'm Brazilian. Yes, I'm originally from São Paulo, and then I moved to the United States when I was 13 to the Denver area, and I have been here pretty much since. But yes, originally from São Paulo on my side. I've been to my fair share of at least to one Derby Paulista in my lifetime in person. I can say that much.
Have you gone back?
I've gone back twice. It's been quite a few years since I've gone back the last time. I'm hoping to do that sometime next year, ideally. And go see Allianz Parque finally for the first time, because I haven't been to the new stadium yet. I've been to Parque Antarctica a couple of times when I was a kid, but I haven't seen the new stadium yet, in person at least.
Yeah, I've been to the new Palmeiras Stadium, and it's beautiful. By the way, I'm going to be a bit delayed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're fine.
I'm at, okay, Vinicius losing the ball again. 3 minutes. I'm going to be a bit delayed because I can't really adjust it. So we're just going to have to go with it. And by the way, anyone that tuned in, welcome to Chapéu Football, a channel mainly not just focused on Brazilian football in English or soccer, if you're American, or we'll call it soccer. I'll let soccer slip a lot of times. And if you kindly could hit the like button, I truly appreciate it. And Rafinha, that's a free kick for Argentina. Oh, shit, it's on screen. They scored, didn't they? Argentina scored with Julian Alvarez. DePaul. That's what happened.
This was such a bad fucking defensive job here. Holy shit.
Almada spins, one touch. Horrible defending. Horrible defending.
Horrible.
How does Julian Alvarez just squeeze through?
Yeah, he just slipped for both these guys.
Well, first it was Almada. That's not really a strong
player.
Yeah,
it was a great pass from Almada, but just the center defenders did not do their job on Alvarez. I would have rather they just clattered him on the spot and gotten a penalty kick out of that instead of just letting him score that easy.
It just looked like lack of effort. So look at watching.
Yeah, this is the worst thing that could happen to give him a goal this early, because the Monumental is just going to turn the noise up to 11 now.
Yeah, this is too early of a goal. They're also going to relax and just play.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This could get ugly. So Almada just kind of like blew by Marquinhos.
Yeah.
It was Arana and Murilo. What the fuck was that?
Maybe nerves.
Arana and Murilo. What were they doing?
First start, but yeah, just.
And then
they did not play that well.
Nutmegged.
Yeah. I just don't think there was a lot of there wasn't any sort of communication between the two as to who was closing down on Alvarez, and he just slipped right by him. And I mean, Julian Alvarez is a world caliber player. Like, you cannot give him that sort of a window to do cenas lamentáveis.
So, Johnny, we just had a cena lamentável.
Cena
right
lamentável.
now.
Essa foi a primeira cena lamentável que o pessoal que fala português aqui no chat.
Yeah, and the ones that don't speak Portuguese, cena lamentável just means like, it's kind of like the not top 10. Remember we had the not top 10 on ESPN every week?
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially we have
your basketball heads out there.
I remember in high school, every day in lunch, that's what we would always want to watch. I would get like pizza and ranch, and then we're just watching the not top 10, which was better than the top 10. But yeah, so we just had one. The defending there from Arana, Murilo, actually Marquinhos first on Almada, that was horrible. Then Arana and Murilo messed up. And lastly, Bento. I mean, Bento's the last one to be blamed here, but definitely some blame. You don't come with your legs wide open like that for this one. Thiago Martins saying, well, I've had enough of bad games. See you back later. He's rage quitting already.
I understand. And Thiago, in case of my Portuguese, the problem is when I came to the United States, I was 13 at the time. And during my 2 years of like becoming fluent in English, I lost pretty much the entirety of my accent to where I sound either very like a Portuguese speaker or an American who learned Portuguese as a second language. I get either one or the other with it. So there is a reason for that.
Dude, are all my like, it's kind of crazy how the US and Brazil just decided to ultimately be crap, and I can't really enjoy the sport as much.
It's like it's a double whammy for you specifically here, Filippo. I mean,
yeah, it's just too much. Like the only good thing is, well, hopefully Palmeiras wins tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, Thursday. That can cheer me up a little bit.
Thursday, yeah, we're. Mm-hmm.
But Johnny says in Brazil, it's never too late to sack a manager. So you're right, but not just in Brazil.
No,
if you think about
it is not.
If you think about it, Morocco in the last World Cup, they lost to the United States around June of 2022, 3-0 to the United States. That's been crap. And then they went to the World Cup. They sacked their coach. They fired their coach. They got a new one, and they made it to the semifinals. The Ivory Coast fired their coach in the middle of the African Cup of Nations, and they won it.
I was about to point that out, and they went to win the whole thing. Yeah, I was about to point that out specifically because that's a recent example of how crazy of a change that was to happen mid-tournament, and they still just ran the gauntlet. And they got lucky to even get into the second round in the first place, because I think that took like a somebody had to lose like last minute in one of the group stage games so they could make it in as one of the third place finishes to get into the second round. And then they went and won the whole thing.
Benjamin Soto saying, hey, Tack, I don't know if you remember me. I have been a fan of the channel since January of 2021. My first stream was a Palmeiras stream, which you did. Ooh. Awesome. Look, Benjamin, I could go on and lie to you and say, yes, I remember. I don't remember. There's a lot of people. But the fact that you were very specific, and I remember I did Palmeiras stream back in 2021, because I think I also did a video with Rabona TV about Palmeiras and Corinthians. So you are definitely not lying.
Right.
And I appreciate
the Roots of the Rivalry video, right? I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah. So he's probably talking about the stream I did right after that. So Benjamin, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Welcome. Fellow Palmeirense or Corintiano.
Even though I'll say this, like the thing with Palmeiras is it's going to be a tough one, but I have learned to never underestimate Palmeiras under a belt. They pull some weird results. So I think Palmeiras has a good shot, even though they're going to be playing away against Corinthians and we're down, right? 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0, yeah. Shot. But it's at least only 1-0. Yeah. Here's my thing when it comes to Palmeiras. There's usually two different versions that show up in these derbies, either the sort of lethargic version where bad substitutions will happen and it'll be like a very boring 1-1 game where on the aggregate side, Corinthians comes out victorious, or if Abel decides to bring back his Old Testament self and just go full scorched earth on these guys on Thursday. I guess we'll wait and see as to what happens with it.
Or he just cuts a deal with the devil. That's the other alternative.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Abel Ferreira of the Old Testament was very known for the pactos, the pacts.
Okay, now I get it.
The memes exist on the internet for a very good reason.
Yeah, he can pull those off. We know that for sure. But everyone, if you just tuned in, make sure to drop a like. Make sure to drop a like. We cover Brazil in English here at Chapéu Football. And subscribe if you're new, as we're starting off this channel to try to grow it. And also make sure to follow Brazilian Fury. That is Chris's channel. He's not like Brazilian focused, but he does do also Brazilian coverage. A lot of Brazil-specific videos. But you kind of mix it also, Football Manager.
Yeah, it's been a good mixture here and there, definitely, with it. And I think... that's a run into the box here by Enzo.
Yeah, so go make sure to check out Chris's channel.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't
this is
really...
going to be bad.
Oh, no. Did they score? Argentina scored? I'm like a minute behind.
Enzo.
The ball's with Emi Martinez
Enzo just
right now.
did it.
Okay, I'm going to watch this play. Let me see what happened. I feel like I should... Is there another country that wants me? Dude, I can't do this. I'm gonna have to clock out of this sport.
Yeah, the defense is just a mess right now.
Okay, out of the box. Cross goes
Enzo
in.
made that run into the box untouched.
But tap and no one was with him.
No.
That was another dude. It's 12 minutes in. And listen, Argentina will not show mercy. They're gonna want 3, they're gonna want 4.
No.
This is gonna get really ugly. And Brazil hasn't done shit.
But hey, on the bright side, if it is a shellacking from the Argentinians to Brazil in this one, maybe this is what gets Dorival fired. There might be a silver lining here. Chapéu means hat, bravado. I just saw it on the chat there. But not like a sports cap type of situation, but more like sort of your rounded, like fancier type of hats that you'd usually see with like tuxedos and whatnot way back in the day.
Yeah, and chapéu also is a dribble in Portuguese. Like when you say you got a chapéu on someone, it means you like lobbed the ball over them, like the Ronaldinho would do. Just kind of like you flick the ball over someone. It's a chapéu in Brazil. So that's one of the reasons why we picked this
a chapelada, chapéu, yeah.
Yeah. Lençol, chapéu.
Oh. Yeah, at this point, they got to figure out. I think with Brazil, they have to try and find some way of getting a goal as quickly as humanly possible here, because otherwise the Monumental is just going to be basically like their 12th man, and that's another 1 or 2 goals waiting to happen easily, if not more, at this juncture.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't.
Of course, Maxwell just tweeting, "Dear God," with the 2 results.
Maxwell?
Yes. He just posted the 2-0 result saying, "Dear God." I'm like, Max, my country's cooked.
Tell him to enjoy Japan and shush. Dude, this could get worse.
Like super early for him too, so it could get worse. Yes, it could get worse. My string is at like 15:22, so I'm not too far behind the timer actually that Tack has on screen.
Yeah, I am roughly 1 minute behind the one on screen, and which is kind of helping me numb the pain because I already know what's going to happen when there's a goal. So when it happens, I'm just kind of like,
Right. Yeah. You'll see me like be the premature the reaction accordingly here, and you can brace
that's
yourself a little bit better.
that's what I said
I can at the
about
very
tactical
least do
manager.
that
Oh
for.
my
I can
god.
at the very least do that for you.
I was like with Tactical Manager TV, I said this, and now Brazil's helping it. I am annoyed, I'm upset, I'm angry, and now I am constipated also because of this. Everything. I also
You're
also
going through
told people I
the
also told people, Chris, during the
what is it
US
that they call it
stream.
again? Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
I also told people during the USMNT
Uh,
stream that when the US plays, um, oh, I put this wrong. When the US plays, hold on, I need to fix one thing. When the US plays, there should come with a warning. You know when what's his name? Hold on, I'm fixing this crap here. Save. When there's like a commercial from Big Pharma here in the US and it's like some pill to treat a headache. And then
right.
at the end, it's like
The side effects
the
of it,
side effects, like, yeah, this will treat a headache, but it'll give you cancer, diabetes, erectile dysfunction, depression, and suicidal thoughts. You're like,
et
holy
cetera.
shit,
Yes.
dude.
Mhm.
It's like, I'll keep the headache. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'll just keep the headache, man. It's like, so when Brazil plays or the US plays, there should be like a warning: watching the US or Brazil will give you erectile dysfunction. Do not do that. It's like, just like, okay.
Yeah. You're pretty much going for like this. What is it? The 7 stages of grief or 5 stages of grief or whatever you call it when doing it.
Or just at this point, just the grief.
Yeah. Oh man. Bento is down, which is not good. Not sure what that's about.
It might not matter.
It might not matter, to be completely honest. Yeah. Oh god, I just realized they might have to play Weverton if they need to substitute him because he got called up because of Allison being injured for the second leg of the qualifier cycle. So
Dude, the thing is, Dorival is
but
also clueless.
and I guess
Dorival has no clue. And
Mhm.
Rob Garcia saying,
Yes.
Tack, how's your mental health been as of late? So, two things. One thing, Chris, I didn't tell you this actually. Over the weekend, I was a part of a soccer tournament where my team, the team I didn't play because of my knees and also had to leave before the final. It was a $5,000 soccer tournament and we won. So I was kind of happy about that. That was good. Getting me ready for the TST. Which, by the way, did you see my team in the TST?
I know you mentioned that you've got a team that's going to be going to it, so I know that much. That you're looking
Yeah.
for sponsors for them. So, if there's any like rich benefactors out here who somehow stumbled into this stream, you should email Tack about it. He is looking for sponsors. He is not above taking your money to sponsor whatever the fuck it is you want to do.
Look at this though. I'm not gonna leak this, but I'm gonna put it in the private chat, so only you will see it. Look at who my center forward is. I just sent you in the private chat. My center forward. Wow, right?
Ooh, interesting. Okay, that's a good name there. A lot of people who may think you're like coming in to be like dead last place are going to be very surprised once they see his name amongst the list of your players there.
I think this guy's gonna bang
Very,
some
very
goals here. Yeah, and I'm bringing also some professional 7v7 players, some guys that played for Palmeiras in the past. I'm building a big team, man. The TST ain't ready for this. I don't think people understand. They're gonna think my team's gonna be ass because I have like Maxwell in the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And myself.
Yep, exactly.
But
which, listen, I would still bring Maxwell as an assistant coach because that's going to be the best shot of a team involved with him winning anything at any point over the next 365 days.
You know what I love about this comment here is Ribamar a Brazilian legend? Do you remember when Ribamar was like a massive football manager prospect?
Yes, I do. Good times.
The good old day. He played for Botafogo, and then he went to, I think, the Bundesliga, Ribamar. I think he went to the Bundesliga. All right, everyone. So now we're a little bit over minute 20. 2-0 Argentina. Brazil has literally done nothing. Argentina hasn't really slowed down their intensity. They haven't really created much outside of that so far, but the intensity is still high, very high.
No, it's starting to get a little cagey here and there with it.
Yeah, honestly, for Brazil, that might be the best way to go about it, so that it doesn't get too ugly. But I'm just not seeing it with Brazil right now. We're not creating anything. The players look a bit scared. They look a bit stunned. 2-0. We haven't scored against Argentina in like 5 years. And it might remain that way. And they're saying, Moise King Kello saying, that's it, guys. I've had enough for this week. I'm going to sleep. USMNT careless game. Now Brazil's getting cooked. And my blood pressure is high. I'm done. Yeah, dude, you know what you should do right now? Anyone that's stressed out. If you are in Brazil or in the US, every time I'm stressed out and I want to go to bed, this is what I do. I get some passion fruit, which in Brazil is called maracujá, anyone that's there. You get some passion fruit, you drink some passion fruit, get melatonin, put on a shit movie, and go to sleep. That usually does the trick, okay? You guys can, honestly, and this is not a medical recommendation, please, before someone sues me. It's like, Tack is saying that.
Yeah, exactly. This is just your method of coping. We should
exactly. So this is my method of coping. You guys do whatever you want, but for me, passion fruit juice, melatonin, and I'm out in like 30 minutes. Or drink a whole. Okay, this definitely do not do what I'm about to say. Or I just drink like half a bottle of wine. That usually does the trick too. Don't do what I say, please.
I mean, some people are saying like they're mixing water now with vodka right now, which, you know what? Good for you. Have live your best life.
Sounds tasty, especially if it's like Guaraná Zero.
Very, like, their nerves are like beyond like high at this juncture. Okay, bad corner from Argentina, might be a counterattack chance, which just got.
Bento just made a brilliant save.
Thankfully, they draw a foul. Yeah.
Bento just made a brilliant save here on mine.
Yeah, finally, yeah. And then the corner kick that I think you're going to be seeing there in just a moment. And then Julian Vivas. See, Talk, I was right. The USMNT needs Latter-day Saints players. They need Taylor Booth. He's Latter-day Saints and from Utah. I'm not sure if the Mormons are going to fix the U.S. men's national team. Quantity-wise, sure. Quality-wise, I'm not 100% sure about that. We'd have to experiment. We'd have to do some case studies of that, experiment with it accordingly.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's not looking good, guys. And at this point, I just hope Brazil doesn't lose like 4-0, 5-0. And Vinicius here in transition. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He passed it behind. I like how Dorival just running around on the sidelines as if he's doing something, just complaining with like.
It's hilarious. Like, the man really thinks he's doing something, anything, when not so much the case.
So Julian Vivas, apparently he wants the U.S. to have like Mormon players.
A couple of these duels here.
Apparently Julian Vivas wants the U.S. to have Mormon players.
Here's the craziest thing, though. As bad of a result as this can be for Brazil, there is the fact that Argentina is like the best in terms of like an international team. They're probably still ranked number 1 right now. And it's to where CONMEBOL is still so bizarre to where I still think Brazil will go through without having to get into like the playoff spots. But this is just a very, very bad loss if they can take it here, regardless of how this finishes. If it finishes on 2-0, 4-0, 5-0, a loss to Argentina is always a bad time. So here's hoping the CBF is looking at this and maybe putting Dorival's head on the chopping block at this juncture. If it stays like this, result-wise.
That's one thing to talk about. It's like, because now Brazil is kind of in a very comfortable situation to qualify. I'll put the table up at halftime. I'll do that. But what would it take to fire Dorival? Because Brazil will qualify. If they keep Dorival, they'll still qualify to the World Cup, in my opinion, because they're like almost 70% of CONMEBOL qualifies at this point. So my question is, What would it take for Brazil to fire Dorival? Would it have to be a big time coach being available? Would it take just Dorival? Well, I mean, because it can't be Dorival being ass. He's ass. Like that's been established. What would it take to fire him? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know, because we don't have a Copa America. World Cup qualifying hasn't been good, but it's kind of under control right now. So I don't know what it would take to fire this guy.
Oh, finally.
What? Goal?
Matheus Cunha just scored. Yeah,
okay.
2-1. You'll see it in about a minute here, but thankfully it's cut down at the very least.
Okay, I'm about to see it, but hey, that at least brings us back to life and it doesn't become a bloodbath.
Yeah, exactly.
This game's not going as we expect. That's 3 goals already.
Yeah, no. We were thinking it was going to be like a cagey affair, but no, they just decided to open the floodgates. Dear God. Great pressing from Cunha. Like, I'll give him credit on that. He pounced on that the moment there was any hesitation over from their number 13 over there.
I'm still waiting.
And I was looking at qualifiers as well. So after, you should see it in it.
Yeah, I'm about to see. Okay, Cunha.
Argentina's gonna have the ball in the back for a little bit.
Oh, good shot. Yep. He got lucky that he caught Martinez a little off guard, because the shot itself was okay, but Martinez was caught completely off guard.
Right, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, he was completely out of guard. Yeah, it's the pressing that did the trick there, and that's more like an individual great moment for Matheus Cunha compared to just, like, I would say, anything tactical causing that to happen. I did look at the qualifiers that are left after this, though. We have Ecuador at Ecuador, and then we host Paraguay, Chile, and then we go to Bolivia for the last qualifier game in mid-September. So I think out of those games, Brazil will be fine. They should be able to get into the top 6 to qualify automatically. But again, it's just like we were saying, Dorival Jr. is not the guy you want long-term if you want this team to win a 6th World Cup.
Well, so about the goal real quick.
And to me, I just wouldn't be surprised if he... go ahead.
What I was going to say about the goal that's interesting, I'll tell you one thing. Tactically, it was actually bad, because here's the thing. When you press, it has to be well coordinated. It has to be something as a team. That's not what happened. Matheus Cunha just kind of did it on his own, and he got lucky that Romero took a bad second touch, essentially, and he was able to take the ball and score. Tactically, it just shows that this team does not have a coordinated press. Brazil. He just kind of did it on his own. There was no one pressing with him. Which, again, pressing on your own is actually usually not very smart. It's a waste of energy. Your team has less of a guy defending, and it usually doesn't work at a high level unless you get kind of lucky or Romero gets sloppy. But it looks like it kind of woke up Brazil now a little bit.
Yeah, at the very least. Again, it was more of like an individual brilliance type of moment because Romero hesitated with the ball. But at the very least, can breathe a little bit easier. At least we're not getting shut out, clean sheeted. So I am okay with that. But they're still just, the team's still very nervy right now. Murillo getting a dumb yellow card here just a moment ago, too.
Yeah, and now we have finally scored against
Murillo's
Argentina.
Definitely feeling the nerve. Yeah, Murillo's just having the nerves right now on their side of the spectrum. Just, I guess it's his debut. I think it's his debut for the national team with this, and he's looking at it for sure.
So, Kanye is saying just sack Dorival and put Felipe Luis from Flamengo in his place. So I have a lot of thoughts on that, actually. Would I prefer Felipe Luis over Dorival? Yes, because I prefer uncertainty to certain shit. Right? At least Felipe Luis, there's a chance. While Dorival, we know he ain't it. But the thing with Felipe Luis is what I talked about before in the stream. I'm not ready to say he's this brilliant coach. I'm just not ready to do so because, again, Flamengo can be very, very streaky. That's Flamengo. So I need to see Felipe Luis for 1, 2, 3 full seasons before I draw the conclusion that he's this tactical genius that we've been talking about. Flamengo can very easily catch fire and also catch a cold. Or actually not even a cold. When they catch it, it's straight up COVID.
And here's my fear too with putting Felipe Luis in a position like this. too early to, if Brazil doesn't get the results on the national stage, and in typical Brazilian fashion would call for his head after like 3 winless games or whatnot. What's that going to do for his confidence in his future as a coach? Like, this is still a very young coach right now that's just started the journey as a coach with Flamengo. I mean, he started with their U17s through the U20s and then got into the senior team almost as soon as he began his career. So I do want to see him at least at Flamengo up until like really see him kind of at Flamengo and on any other teams that I guess he gets to coach if Flamengo decides to fire him for whatever reason until like 2027, 2028, and then maybe gauge how he's been doing to see if he's maybe a good solution for the national team. I think it's too early to tell right now. We'll get more of an image of what kind of style he brings as a coach with having a full season with Flamengo, because he just coached the latter portion of last year from what I remember.
So, Chris, I think now I've caught up on time. I'm at minute 31:50, 31:52, 31:53. I figured it out.
Yeah. You're actually a little bit ahead of me now. I'm still like 42, 43. I may just have to refresh it like halftime, but we're fine. We're still within the same range, so we're good.
Yeah. And everyone, if you haven't already, make sure to drop a like in the stream. Thank you very much, everyone that tuned in. This is the very first live stream of this channel that we're slowly growing. Hopefully, you all enjoy the video. We don't upload as much here because the videos take some time. Like Chris knows, Tactical Management's a bit quicker, the videos. It's more of like reactions, analysis, and quick news reporting. While this one, we try to do a more detailed breakdown, kind of like how you do yours. And these videos take a long time.
Where it takes a while, yeah, especially if you're like kind of running. I know Justin helped you out with the editing and stuff, but still, script writing it, voicing it, and then doing the edits for that, it's not an easy process. And on my side, I know I do it solo, and I've had to like take a break from editing like a video that I'm working on now to watch this with you all. So thank you for making the night bearable as we're losing 2-1 at the moment.
Okay, Mateus Cunha, look at that. Playing well. And then Vinicius freaking loses the ball and just flops around on the floor. Okay, they gave it a foul.
Of course,
now,
yeah.
Chris, I was going to ask you one thing. Chris, because I think you're lagging a bit when you talk, because it's like you can't hear me or that. Can you just like leave the link and click again so I can put you back? See if it works.
Yeah, let me refresh it real quick here. One second.
Yeah, because you're lagging. Okay, he'll be back here in a second. And Brazil seems to have woken up here. Mateus Cunha has been playing quite well. Let me see now. Say something.
Testing 1 2.
I think it's working good.
How are we looking?
I think it's better. Yeah, it's better. So Vinicius, draws a foul. No, stays on his feet, and it's clear. But Brazil kind of woke up here, man.
Yeah, the Cunha goal definitely woke things up here considerably.
Led by Mateus Cunha, another good play from him before. Thiago Martins saying, can this match go to PKs? If yes, who would you choose? It's Thiago, it can't go to penalty kicks. If it's tied, both teams get a point. This is World Cup qualifying.
Yeah,
so
this is still friendlies. Yeah. Okay, cool. At the very least, it seems to be.
Yeah, so no penalty shootouts today. Unless you're asking if we have a penalty kick, who would you have take it? If I'm not mistaken, Mateus Cunha is the penalty taker for Wolves, isn't he?
Usually is, yeah.
So he's maybe I would actually have him take it because
he's been kind of the primary guy for Wolves throughout the last like year and a half, from what I recall. I think if they did have somebody take a penalty kick, it probably would be Rafinha. Not a bad cross. They just needed to be a little bit more on target going into the box there. But yeah, Brazil definitely showing a little more fight now after the Cunha goal, for sure. Argentina's having this kind of regather themselves a little bit here.
And Saul is saying, almost forgot that Dorival looks like a bald eagle. He does a little bit.
He does.
He looks like it's very weird because I've never seen a human's like, oh, he looks like a bald eagle. It's like, no, Dorival looks like one. Like, I know it sounds weird, but that it is true. He does look like one.
Here's what I'll say, because I know I'm seeing a couple of comments about Vinicius Jr. and his time with the Brazilian national team. And Talk and I have talked about this through a couple of these live casts that we did during Copa America. so long as Vinicius Jr. is not a consistent player when he's wearing the Brazil national kit, he will not win a Ballon d'Or. It's that simple.
Argentina almost scored. Bento with a brilliant save.
Just saw that. I think, Bento taking that dive might have reset them because he's been great since that happened. I think like the nerves finally wore off with him. But
yeah, the game is still wide open. But again, advantage to Argentina. They're a bit more dangerous than Brazil. Brazil caught some momentum after the goal, but Brazil hasn't really done. And yeah, people are saying Bento's save. Oh yeah, Chris was lagging a bit. I think he's okay now. He lagged a bit for a second. He's okay. Bento. I mean, what I don't get to is they called up Weverton from Palmeiras just to screw over Palmeiras at this point because Palmeiras plays in 2 days. There was no reason to call him up. No reason to call him up. And ball goes, oh, shit.
Man.
What? McAllister. Who put that ball to McAllister? And Argentina gets a 3-1 lead. Who put that pass? Was that DePaul?
I think it was.
Well, I mean, the finish was brilliant, but who?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Pass? Just,
dude, this is actually a crazy first half, 3-1.
Mm-hmm. Very, very surprised by it. Again, we're not getting shut out at least, but damn, yeah, Argentina's firing on all cylinders. It's almost like they heard all the talk about no Messi and no Lautaro and that the team like isn't that good without the two of them and decided to like prove it otherwise.
It was Enzo that put the pass. Enzo to McAllister.
Yep. Okay, I see it now. Yep. Just saw the replay. I do think the defense could have done a better job, like not letting like Bento have to run for that one, personally. But yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, but also
if Bento and then McAllister with the finish. Yeah.
But Chris, if Bento's gonna come off his line like that, you can't come out that poorly. That's also
exactly. I agree.
Because if he stayed on goal, it would have been a much tougher finish if he stayed on goal. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna come out like that, that was not good enough. No, it was a brilliant pass, but I'm just saying that if Bento's going to make the choice of coming out of his line, you got to do better. You can't come out like that.
Yeah. But Bravado just pointed out, Argentinian midfielders really are controlling this game right now. Like, Joelinton and Andrea are really not doing their jobs.
Fight.
Oh, boy, here we go. There's the chippiness we were expecting.
Yeah, Brazil can't really fall into this. We're down 3-1.
No.
I'll say this, though. I'll say one thing about this game. If Brazil comes back from this for some miracle, it is a legendary win, if it happens.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really count on it.
But we're not expecting it. We're just...
I don't think this Brazil national team has the mindset, the mentality, and the grit that previous generations have had to come back from a game like this in Argentina. I just don't see it. Or the leadership, too. There's definitely talent in this Brazilian team, but I don't see the mentality or any of that. The Argentina team is much tougher. Mentally, they're stronger. Mm-hmm. Let me see what happened again. So Rafinha got fouled. Okay. And then he got up and he just kind of not even pushed. Just kind of touched Tagliafico.
It's like a chest bump situation, and somebody took a fall. Yeah, Tagliafico took a fall on that one, which, whatever. It is what it is. In situations like that, you just take the fall to draw a foul of some sort. Like, I get it. But yeah, yellow's being shown at least is good.
Oh, God. And Rafinha has been kind of anonymous so far.
Again, like if there's a game that maybe you try to inject some life into the team and bring Hendrik and Estevão in, this might be the one.
Yeah,
maybe not the best scenario, but like Rafinha's not doing anything.
Even though I like the idea of resting Estevão for Palmeiras.
Yes, personally, I get that, but at the same time.
Tiago Martins is saying, man, you Americans have no idea how millions of people right now are very angry and depressed. Tiago, yes, we do. We just lost to Panama and Canada at home. Trust me, there were a lot of angry people. Maybe not millions. Maybe we don't have that many fans, but there are a couple million USMNT fans in the United States. And I think we were angry at the Panama loss, but when the US lost to Canada, we were just kind of like not caring anymore. We're just like, fuck this. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I want to move on. Devonta Jones. You know what? This is starting to look just like a regular tactical manager stream. I should have just been a tactical manager. It's like the same. I know Devonta Jones. He's always in my streams. And he said, how did the U.S. end up with a fraud Argentine coach? Out of all Argentina coaches, Pochettino has a Brazilian DNA. Also, Pochettino should be fired if we don't win the Gold Cup. I talked about it with Pete about that. And I think even with Adam in the video. Let's say Pochettino has an embarrassing Gold Cup. Do you pull the trigger? What would you do? Tricky, right? Because it's tricky.
Given the amount of money that they're paying for him, I just don't think the USSF has the guts to pull him like that. They'll stick with him at least until post 2026, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I also don't think the Federation can afford to fire him.
No, I don't think so either.
They're saying there's a hole on the Brazilians midfield. Yeah, which is weird that there's a hole there because he did put André and Joelinton, which can be very defensive, hardworking midfielders. Joelinton more box to box, and André is more of a CDM. I don't understand why it is like that. Thiago Martins said, what players would be the best 5 PK shooters for the United States? Well, as we said, Marquinhos is terrible. Rafinha and Mateus Cunha for sure. Vinicius, in my opinion, he's not a good penalty kick take.
No.
In my opinion.
Probably
so
my third, if I had to pick. Rodrigo was my third. Probably Joelinton, fourth. And then bring one of the guys from the bench to be the fifth instead. Take your pick.
Yeah, it doesn't look like if we went to a game to penalty shootouts, it doesn't look like we would do well. And then Frank Castro saying USMNT and Brazil lost grit. Tack is the common thread. That is true. I mean, the issues with Brazil and the US, they're not that similar. And there is grit with this Brazilian national team as you're watching in the game. I think the one thing this Brazilian national team lacks is just that killer mentality that previous generations had. Neymar has it. The U.S. actually does look anemic at times. Brazil just looks like shit, but the team is trying. You can see there's fight there with the players. Who asked about corruption there? What was the question?
It was Bravado asking if the Brazilian Federation's as corrupt as the USSF, and I said, no, they're more corrupt, actually.
I think they're more, yeah. As bad as U.S. soccer is, trust me, Brazil, when it comes to corruption, it's not that easy to beat Brazil in anything. So don't underestimate Brazil.
Yeah, so a while back, just for context here, and I guess I can talk about an abridged version of events. I did a video on the Brazilian state championships because it's kind of an unfamiliar concept across most leagues across the world, and how the CBF, the Brazilian Federation, the FA, can be fairly corrupt on that side of the spectrum because each state has their own reps that get a say in voting for a lot of the federation like related business, who the next president is, and etc., and how their votes are valued 3 times more than the votes of teams that are in Serie A and Serie B, kind of a situation. So they control a lot of the power in the Brazilian FA, and most of those guys are in it for the money instead of actually like the improvement of Brazilian football. So a lot of corrupt nonsense tends to happen because of that. So yeah, for like a short and sweet version of how corrupt our federation is.
Yeah, and also Brazil, when it comes to the elections of the CBF, the federation, it goes through the state federations, right? They vote.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And again, anyone that tries to, for example, Brazil, ideally you need to change like the state tournaments in Brazil. That's something that's long overdue. but they make a lot of money out of that. So if you come in and you propose something to reduce that, you're immediately not going to get the support and win. It's just very corrupt. It's crazy that Agnaldo was able to stay. He got reelected till 2030. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 2030. Yep. So more World Cup cycles for him.
Yeah. So Brazil is in big trouble. The thing I said also in the video is Brazil just has so much talent that at some point the team might accidentally click and then they win a World Cup, right? At some point. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, see, everything is good. We're the best. And then you go back to being shit. That's my prediction. I even said that in the video where I said, you know what my prediction is? Brazil will probably accidentally win a World Cup just because they have so much talent at some point. And then everyone will think everything is good. Let me ask one thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if Renato Chaves that played for Fluminense wants to come to our streams.
Ooh, please do. Bring him on. To me in particular, I do think the generation with Andy, Stefan, Vitor Hawk, and all those guys, I do think they can win one down the line. But as you said, it's going to be very accidental-esque, where it's the individual talents that are going to put it together and get it done, rather than it being anything to do with the federation or coaches or stuff of that nature making it happen. So let's see here. And then James Buchanan, nice in Portuguese is legal. Legal is a word that you can use for nice. Yeah, as a description of that. Yeah. Well, more goals than we expected. And thankfully, the one goal from Matheus Cunha has sort of quenched the bleeding to an extent, but it's still a mountain to climb if Brazil wants to at least get a point out of this game. Going down 2 goals at the Monumental is not ideal.
Yeah, it's and the game's gonna get chippy in the second half.
Oh yeah.
Let's pull up a few things here. Let me put on screen right now. What I want to put on screen real quick is this. Let's go through the table, because despite this loss, Brazil's situation is not very alarming, and I'll tell you why. So 7th place goes to the Interconfederate playoffs, right? Which is not ideal. So you want to finish top 6. But if you look at it here, Brazil's still 6 points ahead of Venezuela, with Venezuela currently winning their game. They're beating Peru. Mm-hmm. So 6 points, and we have roughly, what is it? We have 18. So we have 4 games left.
4 games left.
So essentially, if Brazil wins 2 games, they're through. Maybe even less. But
and I mean, yeah, in terms of it as well, Tack, just to highlight it, Ecuador is probably the toughest team we have left out of the last 4 games for qualifiers, and we do play them at Ecuador, so that could be tough. And then we have a game, the last game of the qualifiers is at Bolivia, so that could be its own issue, because La Paz is basically like Bolivia is performing on steroids anytime that you play at La Paz. But besides that, I believe it is Chile and I think Paraguay for the other 2 games. So I think we'll be all right. We'll make it into the top 6.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest here. When looking at these games right now, looking at the table, I think the top 6 is more or less settled with the amount of games left. I don't think Venezuela will also catch up to Paraguay. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, the win here helps. I don't think they'll be able to do it. No, they've got a couple of tough games on their side of the spectrum coming through.
Let's just put it this way, for example. If Paraguay loses the next 2 games and Venezuela wins the next 2 games, Venezuela surpasses them. Now, how likely is it? Venezuela has won 3 games so far in World Cup qualifying. So they need to win at least 3 of the last 4. Is it really going to happen? Let's be real. No, seriously.
I hear you on
3.
That.
They won 3 out of 14. And right now, to qualify, they need to win 3 out of 4, maybe 4 out of 4, depending on what Paraguay does. The top 6 is set. It's going to be Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia, Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay. Not necessarily in that order. Also, the order doesn't really freaking matter. The question is, who gets the last Interconfederate playoff spot? Venezuela obviously has the lead right there. How many games does Bolivia have at home left? 2?
2 more. Yeah.
I like their
Brazil is
odds,
one of
man.
them, and then they have the other. And yeah, for Venezuela, the tough part too is that after this Peru game, if they do manage to win it, they do have Bolivia at home in the June stretch of qualifiers, but then they have Uruguay, Argentina, and Colombia back to back to back. They are,
So,
if they hold
so
on to
if
7th, they will be lucky.
so the next round, as you said, Venezuela takes on Bolivia at home. If Bolivia
Yeah,
can hold a draw there, they probably will qualify.
yeah, I can see it.
Crazy, crazy if Bolivia makes it to the US. Maybe we put them to play in Denver with a little bit of altitude.
Yeah, it's Denver on La Paz is Denver on steroids, basically in terms of altitude. So
Or they put them in Mexico City. That's a little bit of altitude too.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I don't think Denver has one of the World Cup stadium spots. So yeah, it would have to be it would have to be Mexico City for Bolivia in that case.
so Intel SEC says if Dorival leaves, Brazil's next manager must be Abel Ferreira or Pep Guardiola. So Abel Ferreira,
He's not.
extremely unlikely.
No.
One, Palmeiras ain't letting him go. And two, there's one big issue with Abel Ferreira taking over the Brazilian national team. He's very much seen as a Palmeiras guy in Brazil. He's not
Yeah.
one of those coaches that has rotated. He's literally seen as the Palmeiras guy. And the problem with that is you end up getting pushback from pretty much most of the fan bases. It just doesn't really work. And people say, well, Chichi was very much seen as a Corinthians guy, but Chichi had coached multiple teams, including Palmeiras when they
Yes.
when he took. So it's a bit different with Abel, where he's kind of like he only coached Palmeiras in Brazil for 5 years so far and has won so much. I don't see it happening. I see a lot of pushback. Now, Pep Guardiola, here's my issue with it. His system takes time, and you don't have much time with the national team, and he won't have much time to the World Cup. I think if Brazil's going to go to the World Cup, the guy that they should try to get that could quickly implement the way he plays and he would get the best out of the team, it is Carlo Ancelotti right now. Like, is an emergency hire. That's the only one I can see that's like, all right, get it. It works. They're saying Thiago Motta. Again, over Dorival, I'll take Felipe Luis. I'll take Thiago Motta. I'll take the gamble. But if we want something certain, of course, Ancelotti is no guarantee of winning the World Cup, but I don't see where Ancelotti would flop with Brazil. I think it would go well.
I think with Ancelotti's style, I do think that it may not be like the fanciest from time to time, but I think he's flexible, which is huge for like a national team selection. And then with Abel Ferreira, to point out the situation, it's very much he doesn't like the Brazilian press. He's had like a lot of beef with the São Paulo press, Brazilian press as a whole, to where I don't think the national team he'd be able to handle the responsibility. And yes, Ray, we do have that bias in which we don't want to let him go if it can be helped, even if we have our issues with the guy from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously we don't want him to leave Palmeiras. He's the most successful coach Palmeiras ever had. But I'm just being rational about his hiring with the national team. He has a contract with Palmeiras till the end of the year. He ain't leaving. Palmeiras ain't letting him go. Okay, so that's the first thing. So if he was to take the national team, it would have been like in January. The second thing is it kind of looks like he's comfortable at Palmeiras, and if he wants to leave, he's going to leave Brazil. I don't think he would take over the national team. I'm just saying that, especially because he knows he's going to be taking the national team on an extremely hot seat. It's going to be burning. And anything that happens in the World Cup, they're just going to blame him, the guy that just took over. I find it unlikely. I think Abel Ferreira is a little too smart to fall for that. So, no, I don't think that'll happen. Also, I don't know if CBF is going to fire Dorival. I don't think they will.
That is... It's a situation which I feel like we're married to Dorival Jr. at least until the aftermath of the 2026 World Cup, and I hate it already.
Yeah, and everyone, if you all, I mean, most of you here probably already watched the video, but if you're new here, I made a whole video talking about the issues with Brazilian coaches. So if you want details of why both of us seem to pretty much hate every Brazilian coach at this point, that video kind of breaks it down more or less of the issues. They're not all bad. but they're mostly bad. It's one of those situations where you generalize because 90% of that group is bad. So you just kind of like generalize it, which is not right to do. You often shouldn't generalize it, but we are generalizing that Brazilian coaches are bad because I would say 90% of them are. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I think someone mentioned on chat about Rogério Ceni as a coaching possibility, and
No.
I think he's been too much for the carousel at this point, and he's had a couple of really bad stints between Flamengo and São Paulo over the last couple of years, to where even if he's stabilizing things at Bahia, I still don't trust him to handle a big-time job like the national team.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bahia spends a lot of money, don't they, with Citigroup these days?
Nowadays, they're starting to, yeah. They're getting to
Yeah.
that point now, finally. I think,
Let me see.
what was it? Bravado, would you take Zidane as a manager? Yeah, I think Zidane would be interesting. He'd be an upgrade over Dorival. I'm just not sure how it would work.
Yeah, I also think he has a long history of beating up Brazil, so I don't know how much I'm comfortable with Zidane in charge. Now just saying, Tack, do you think we would be having a different conversation if the U.S. had its full roster healthy? Look, here's the thing. We can't go based on ifs because we can very well go to the World Cup and be missing key players. So I don't like to use that as an excuse. And Panama could say the same. Panama didn't have Amir Murilo, which is arguably their best player. They didn't have Barcenas, they're one of their best wingers and forwards. So if we're going to use that argument, it's not going to go well because teams always are missing players. Canada lost Alphonso Davies like 10 minutes into the game, their best player. I don't like using that argument. Players get injured. Usually national teams don't have their full roster. France was missing like 6 very important players in the World Cup. They still made it to the final. No excuses. I don't like to talk about it in that way. Maybe we would, probably, but it doesn't matter, right? Our depth maybe sucked. It was tested and sucked. To me, it doesn't matter who we were missing. Okay, so the second half is going to start. And now they're asking about Jardini, the Brazilian coach Jardini, that is the coach of Club America. He's been coaching Club America for a while. So I've never seen his work in Brazil. He's done work as assistant coach in Brazil, and he's also coached in Brazil, Brazil's like U20s or something. Did he coach Brazil in the Olympics? I think so, Jardini, right?
I believe he was a part of the Olympic team. That yeah, he did win the
Japan
Olympic
one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, win the gold at the 2020 Summer Olympics with them as well. So there is
yes. And then he's been with Club America, where I would say he's been successful. He's won the Clausura, Apertura 1 or 2 times, right? He's been doing a fine job. The thing is, I don't follow Club America that closely to give you an opinion. Maybe we have Club America fans there. It's also Liga MX. I'm pretty sure a lot of Brazilian coaches, they come to MLS, they'll do well also. So it's hard for me to give you an actual opinion, but he did win the Olympic gold medal with Brazil. And to be honest, that second one, we weren't expecting it as much as the first one. We brought Neymar at home. So maybe, like again, like I probably would take him over Dorival. I think Dorival is not good. I wouldn't take Dorival Palmeiras. I don't think Dorival is a good coach. I was shocked when he was hired. Dorival Jr., guys, let me put this here. I'm going to put it on screen. Do you guys know how many clubs Dorival Jr. has
you might as well just put his like hiring history from his Wikipedia on the page here, just so they see exactly like how much a career he's had.
Fellas, get ready to get your mind blown. So Dorival Jr.'s career. So this was his senior career. Now let's go to his manager career. It started in 2022. So roughly 22 years later, 22, 23 years later, ago, 22, 23 years ago. So he's coached 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So he averages over one team, national team in this case, or club, per season, every year. Every year. This dude has been everywhere. 25 years roughly of his career, 26 clubs, 26 teams. It's insane. The dude has coached every single team in Brazil possible. It's crazy.
And I mean, it's just one example. Obviously, for those who are familiar with Felipe Luis Scolari from previous cycles as well, he has just this crazy of a history in terms of his coaching branches as well. He's been coaching since the 1980s, and he's been for like 20 plus clubs at this juncture, which to his credit do include some like Europe and Asian stints as well, but a lot of Brazilian clubs and bouncing back and forth between them. So
he kept bouncing back between like Palmeiras, Grêmio. Felipão has coached Palmeiras 3 times in his career. Grêmio probably like 3 or 4. It's what they call in Brazil. It's like the dança das cadeiras, that they just keep like rotating the same guys.
It's musical chairs. That's basically the Brazilian coaching carousel. And then one thing to keep in mind as well for a lot of folks who are bringing up like foreign managers as well, the CBF are very Brazil centric in terms of like they have this weird feeling that the Brazilian national team coach needs to be Brazilian for whatever the fuck reason it is at this point. It's archaic, and it's definitely helped us crash out in a couple of World Cups, I would say, due to that.
Yeah, I can't really, honestly. Now the second. Oh my God! Did you see just Dorival just scratching his balls? You saw that?
Well, he's not getting a red card for that one like Abel Ferreira did that one time. We can say that much now.
Well, Abel Ferreira did it on purpose. He was just scratching it. He just didn't clean it properly down there. And the ref probably looked at him like, it's okay, dude. Go take a shower. No, but yeah, we'll see what happens here in the second half. Argentina 3-1. The only thing that concerns me is Argentina will not slow down. Like Germany, for example, in the 7-1, they kind of like had like they slowed down in the second half. Now Argentina wants to score 4, 5, 6, whatever they can. And Brazil looked alive after Mateus Cunha's miracle goal with the press, and after that, looked like shit. And
but yeah, Rivaldo, pretty much for context, every one of the 5 cups that Brazil has won, it has been with Brazilian managers. So that's part of the cockiness there to an extent too, from like the Brazilian FA and whatnot when it comes to their hires, and the fact it's like, oh well, we won 5 World Cups and all of our coaches were Brazilians, so why would we divert from anywhere else when again, ever since the 2002 World Cup, no matter the amount of talent Brazilian teams have had, the coaching has not been up to par.
So about like CBF or Dorival not rating the Serie A, the Italian Serie A, I don't know what they rate or don't, but your point is valid, right? When he doesn't bring like a right back that's playing very well for Fiorentina, and then he was bringing like Danilo for so long.
Yeah.
And then this crap show that we keep seeing, right? Because today here for Brazil, let me try to put this here. We have Wesley starting, the Flamengo right back, Wesley, right here, 21-year-old. I don't like him very much. I think he's okay. Does well for Flamengo, but I wouldn't start it for the Brazilian national team. And then you got Guilherme Arana, that's been with Atlético Mineiro for quite some time. I'm also not a big fan. Arana, if I'm not mistaken, played a while for Corinthians too. I remember him. Never been a big fan. Just like
Endrick is on. Endrick is on. There's an Endrick sighting on the field officially.
For who?
I'm thinking. Hold on here. Let's see. I'm waiting for Vix to show the substitutions here as the Argentinians are exiting out of the tunnel.
So Leo Ortiz, Endrick, and João Gomes, 3 subs.
Dang.
Hey, look. We criticize Dorival, but that's ballsy. That's a ballsy move.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to give him credit. Like, things are not going well for Brazil. So
no, might as well try something, anything at this juncture. Holy shit,
man. I want to figure out who they're on for, because, I mean, he took out Mateus Cunha. Do you see Mateus Cunha? I don't see him.
I don't see him yet either. Hold on. We'll take a look.
Yeah, so Thiago Martins asking, would you say our women team is doing better? I haven't followed the
Yeah,
Brazilian women's national team. The U.S. women's national team is definitely doing better than the men's
yeah. The
national team.
Brazilian women's team better. They did get to the gold medal game against the U.S. in the Olympics this year. They've still looked pretty good in terms of friendlies. Tough sort of third place finish in the She Believes Cup earlier last year. But then again,
We
they were
sucked
going
at
up
the
against
World Cup,
Japan
though.
as well.
The World Cup 3 years ago, actually, right?
Yeah,
2020.
I think
No, no,
they're
no.
to an
The World
extent
Cup
they're in
was
a
in
better place. Yeah,
2023. It was in
yeah.
2023, so a year and a half ago. So
I do think we're
Rodrigo's
slightly
out.
better on the women's side of the spectrum there, but still some work to be done. I just feel bad for Martha. Great career, incredible career as an international, and just shit luck with a federation that did not do a flying fuck for the women's game for God knows how long until the recent couple of years.
Hey, Chris, let's be honest here. The federation has screwed over both national teams.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
one
the
hundred
women's
percent.
more.
With the women's team even more somehow, and that's an accomplishment in like the most derogatory manner possible that I can say that.
They were just like, hey, we treat both teams equally. We treat them like shit.
Complete shit.
It's like if they had the whole thing of the U.S. women's and U.S. men's, the Brazilian Federation would just go on. You know what? We're gonna give you all equal pay. We're not paying anyone. They would just, we're not paying anyone.
So timeline wise, just for the replacements, Ender came in for Rodrigo, Léo Ortiz is in for Murilo, and then João Gomes came in for Joelinton. So
Yeah,
those are
someone
the
said Bruno Guimarães. Bruno Guimarães is not available, so it's João
no.
Gomes. So we might look at a 4-4-2 formation with Hendrick and Cunha
Cunha
up
up,
top.
or if they're putting Endrick over on the side that Rodrigo was playing, since he can play on the wings a little bit as well, and then have Cunha still as the lone striker up top. If they're still keeping the 4-2-3-1 to go with
They're
it.
saying, I love the Bournemouth striker. Is he on the bench? You're probably talking about Evanilson. No, Evanilson wasn't called
No,
up.
Evanilson wasn't called up. No, but he's been doing well for Bournemouth this year. I will
Yeah.
props to him on that. It's been a good season for him.
Yeah, he was good with Porto too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good run there. Wesley, just a bad pass, unfortunately, but very good run, bringing the ball up.
Cleared again by Brazil. That'll be a throw in for Argentina 2 minutes in.
Yeah, getting KG already with the fouls. Hendrick getting fouled, and then Almada getting fouled immediately after. Oh, yeah, no worries at all, Jake. You're good.
All right. So the odds, it's paying, they just showed on TV, the odds are paying 40x in Brazil if Brazil comes back. 40x. If you put like $10, you make $400.
Could be a little something there.
Might be worth it if I was in Brazil right now. I'll probably put $10, right? It's worth losing $10 with the risk of making 400.
With the amount between the Brazil and the Real right now too, like you'd be making a good amount of bank if you actually pull that through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But unfortunately, despite me saying that, I find it unlikely that I would win that bet. That's why it's paying 40x. There's a reason.
Okay, so here's a good question if you want to pull that one up. Jeff Serrano just asked,
I got you.
would Brazil be better off with or without Neymar? Here's what I'll say. Current day Neymar, the one that gets injured every couple of weeks, Neymar, not so much, no. And at some point or another, there was going to need to be a transition anyway. If this World Cup cycle was going to be a wash and we're going to have to be stuck with shitty management and whatnot, might as well just try to transition to like the younger generation now and phase out some of the older gens.
Yeah, and I'm watching here. Argentina almost scored. Julian Alvarez hit it over Bento. Bento made a nice save there.
And what mark are you on right now, Tak? Are you the 49-minute portion? Because I think I'm still at like 48-30. I think I'm about.
I'm at 40-20, and they say 24x pro. Rodrigo, Stinker, and Hooked So overrated. I don't think he's overrated, but yeah, it was a stinker. I can't really argue against that. He's a good player, but kind of like Vinicius, he always struggles for the national team. Green Great said, off topic, did you see Eli Lesser call you a Euro snob after US Canada? No, I don't watch his content, dude. How the fuck would I know? It's funny that how like I get called a Euro snob, and the only positive player that I gave any credit this camp was the MLS player Diego Luna. But I'm a Euro snob.
Yeah, that's a little bit ironic.
Yeah, the problem is most of like these content creators for MLS, they mainly like show for the league, obviously, because you kind of have to if you want any kind of access or
Access to it,
whatever you
which
can do.
checks out with an American sport that's so insecure about themselves.
Yeah, and the thing too is like they don't really understand the game very well because they haven't started watching until they're grown adults and they found like a niche. They're like nerds that they weren't really into anything and they found niche. That's what it is. It's
Like, I'm not going to fault anybody for getting into the sport during adulthood and stuff, but there are limitations to like.
Well, I'll fault them
there's a difference between like,
for
analysis and then obviously, yeah, shilling.
I'll fault them
Stuff
for having
shilling
shitty
is maybe.
takes that are outside of
Mhm.
the reality of the sport. They can become a fan of the sport at any age, and they're actually free to say whatever they want. But it's just kind of like don't try to act upon any type of expertise, never working with anything, not actually following it for multiple years. Yeah, just whatever. Long ball goes through. Endrick can't reach it, and Martinez will get the ball.
Yeah.
It's like Jake say, weird how defensive guys get about MLS. It is very weird because in Brazil, if you shit on the league or the federation, no one cares. They might have actually join you and shit on it. It's very weird. MLS, if you say, "Oh, that was terrible defending," you freaking Euro snob, you hate this country. What is wrong with you? It's like, dude, I've never seen this before. And the weird thing about MLS is if you shit on one team, they all jump to attack you as if it's like, oh, well, I mean, it is one entity, so they have a point. Yeah, that might be it. It's weird.
To be fair, like
MLS
everybody, yeah, it's like the leagues.
I can't hear Chris right now. Can you guys hear Chris? I think you muted.
Hold on. I think my internet is.
Oh, there you are. There you are. You're back. You're back. You're back.
Yeah, it's my internet probably. Let me refresh it here really quick. I'll be back in about 1 to 2 minutes here. Give you just a moment.
Okay. See you soon. Yeah, so again with MLS, it's just kind of weird stuff with fan bases because like we lost there. MLS players, a few of them were complete crap. I didn't really call anyone MLS shill, so I don't know exactly what Eli said. And I think who put that on in the chat. It was Green Great Bazin. I don't know exactly what he said and where he said that. If it was a live stream, if it was those shorts that he made. So I don't know what exactly he said. What's the context of it? But no, I didn't see what he said. Because I got better things to do with my life.
It's one of those situations again where it's the defensiveness over the league as if like the league is the little baby that will get its feelings hurt if you just so much as offer a bit of critique towards it. And I kind of like get being this much of a homer for like your homegrown thing and whatnot, but you're still in like the early childhood phase where you can improve things and just putting your fingers in your ears and screaming la 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 la, I can't hear you type of situation is not going to help the growth of the game in the United States, especially when pay to play is a prevalent situation in this country and it is holding it back from what it could be. So
yeah, it's whatever. It's what I keep saying.
I guess the conclusion is, yeah, it's understandable. I just think is this. if MLS Twitter had to deal with an inkling of what NBA Twitter does on a daily basis, these guys would stop watching sports. Like they would rage for it at just the amount of shit that they would have dumped on them by NBA fans with the way that they act towards their teams, players, etc.
Well, the thing with it too, it's like the problem with MLS is like that their attitude of a good portion of their media and fan base, it draws away people because you just get annoyed. Like I kind of clocked out. Like you see, like the guy can call me a Euro snob. I'm not calling any of them MLS shows. I don't even argue with them anymore. I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, there's no point. And even MLS, I'm following for American prospects. Everything else, all other stupid storylines, they can go to hell. I'm just following just to track American prospects, and that's about it. And I mean, and I've heard of a lot of people that don't watch it anymore too. I can't believe their ratings are doing any better. They might get a boost in the messy games, but overall, I don't think it's doing that well.
And it's also the fact that with Apple, they don't have to publish what their ratings numbers are unless they're doing it. So you're never going to get, like, I think, a real true comparison of what ratings are like now with the Apple TV deal compared to what they were messy. We'll have like a proper comparison. So I'm hoping the USL stuff with ProRel that they're going to be starting, that it does take off, that they do stabilize a couple of markets to be a true sort of like driving force to ideally bully MLS into improving their spectrum of the game.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But again, I just decided to clock out of MLS and just follow the American prospects. There's no point. It's not very interesting overall. I mean, I think most soccer fans in this country feel this way, though.
Almada really taking an ambitious shot here. Somebody just mentioned that's a little trying to get way too fancy on that instead of keeping it down on the ground and maybe taking his angle on it. But they're up 3-1, so I guess they can take those risks to an extent.
Here's a good question. Anyone in the chat that legitimately watches MLS? By legitimately, I mean don't watch it like me. I'm tracking players to cover mainly Americans. Does anyone here actually watch MLS? Like you follow a team and that's your team. Anyone? Because again, we're not making fun of anyone that likes MLS. I have no issue with anyone liking MLS. My issue is like the shows that don't accept any criticism towards it. Watching MLS is fine. It's entertainment. It doesn't really, there's no issue with someone being an MLS fan or a fan of an MLS team. I think more a fan of a team than the league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good spin move there from João Gomes. Drives the ball forward, finds Mateus Cunha. You got to release it quicker, man. The Argentine players just harass you super quick. So yeah, there are a few. See, Galaxy fan, DC United fan, watch Inter Miami. I'm assuming Inter Miami might follow Messi mainly. Galaxy. There's.
I mean, I've been to one Rapids game, and I thought that was fun in person, but I'm not going out of my way to getting Apple TV to watch them, if anything. So there is that.
Yeah, the thing is, attending MLS games can be fun, but I just don't have like the energy to do it sometimes because it's not as fun as going to somewhere in Brazil, Argentina, or Mexico where there's like much more passion. It feels just like a fun event where you go there, hang out with your friends, watch some soccer. Like you can't go wrong, right, with watching some soccer with friends.
I hear it.
But anyhow, enough of MLS talk. Got better things to do here. Argentina 3, Brazil 1. Argentina has been better than Brazil in the second half. Definitely had more goal scoring opportunities. Could have had a fourth or fifth goal by now. Brazil still hanging in somehow. Endrick hasn't really done much. The ball hasn't gotten there. João Gomes is bringing a lot of fight, but not much outside of that.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if it's because I'm streaming the game and also being on the chat at the same time that could be causing some of the lag. So I'm trying to see if I can just run the game from my mobile device and like just basically work it out to where one thing is happening on one screen and the other is happening on separately. So that way I don't have as much of a gap, like not as many issues as I've been having from what chat's been saying.
Yeah, I doubled my internet speed because it was only an extra like $20 a month. So I was just like, all right, since I do a lot of these streams, I might as well, right? So
Yeah, it might be the time for me to take that leap as well too, personally. So there is that.
yeah, it's not too expensive to upgrade it. That's the one thing. Like
Mhm.
20, we'll go like $20 a month. I mean, in Brazil that's a lot, but here $20. It's money, but again, nowadays can't really fill up the gas of tank even.
Mhm. Stuff is going crazy to say the least.
Okay, Argentina comes through here. 15 minutes. Cross goes in. Header. Ooh.
Ooh.
Almost again. Again, Argentina are the ones creating the better opportunities here in the second half. They could have easily had a fourth goal by now.
Yeah, turns out going to my phone, it's like perfect at this point. It just got to 60.09 at this point. So I'm actually like right on up to par with the up front there on the screen. It probably would be easiest if I had a TV that I could access here from the room with it, with Telemundo, but alas.
Okay, now Brazil here at the ball. So you know how many shots Argentina had so far in the game?
I think I saw the stats on Google just a moment ago.
9. And you know how many
Oh,
Brazil had?
3 at most.
1. The
Oh,
goal.
God,
That
just a
was the only
goal.
shot.
Fucking hell, man. We're lucky it's not 5-0, to say the least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Endrick
thinking,
again.
yeah,
The
your listing
Brazilian
is like,
players, the Brazilian players get the ball, and there's like 6 Argentine players all over them. Somehow they multiply.
yeah, they're snagging just immediate advantage.
This is an interesting question here from Green Great Bassin. He's saying, "Who's the Real Madrid and Barcelona of the Brazilian league?" So there is none. There are teams that are more successful. Palmeiras is as the one that has won the league the most. Flamengo is huge. Corinthians is big too. There are many like that, but there's no two powerhouses that just completely dominate the country for multiple decades.
So,
Um,
what Spain has as their power two, we call the G12, the G12, which are basically 12 clubs that are kind of powerhouses across the country. Most of them, if not all of them, are concentrated within the south portion of the country. So we're talking Corinthians, Palmeiras, São Paulo, Santos, Grêmio, and Internacional in Rio Grande do Sul, Flamengo, Fluminense, Vasco da Gama, Botafogo in Rio de Janeiro, and then Atlético Mineiro and Cruzeiro over in Minas Gerais. So really just like it kind of is interchangeable between like the southeast south powerhouses in the country. It's very rare to see the northeastern teams like do well. So when it happens, it's usually something to be kind of celebrated in its own way. Like
it's a weaker
Fortaleza's season last
economy.
year was well. Yeah, exactly.
They have less money to spend. Like when Chris mentioned the southeast of Brazil, that catches like Rio and São Paulo mainly. You do also have Minas, but Rio and São Paulo are the richest
Are the two
states. So
powerhouses? Yeah.
yeah, so then you get like the richest clubs also. They're not the only ones. Like there's also teams from the south of Brazil that do very well, Inter, Grêmio. But ultimately, if you look at the most successful ones, it's the big four from Rio, big four from São Paulo, probably the biggest clubs.
And then Bess asking, Brazil's a big country. How do you handle the travel between north and south? They just do it, and it is torture. Like for northeastern teams, a part of the lack of success to an extent as well, why they may do incredible at home but have really bad away legs during the course of the Brazilian Championship or even the Cup games. It's because the travel is like hours and hours, like round trips wise. Like you're talking like Fortaleza to São Paulo, something closer to like 3 to 4 hours as a trip by plane. That's it's a lot of ground to cover. A
They
lot
just
of
don't
ground to
whine
cover.
about it as much as the MLS guys. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
or the Europeans, in fact, with their oh no, they're adding 2 more Champions League games to our schedules. Whatever will we do?
We're gonna need to take an extra 1 hour flight. Oh my god, horrible ball
Unfucking
here from João Gomes. We could have hit Brazil in transit. Why is João Gomes complaining? That was a horrible pass.
Yeah, that was bad.
What is he expecting Endrick to do? Not even Kylian Mbappe would have caught up to that.
Way too much on that pass. Way too much. Like, brother, control your pass power.
Tack, do you know how many teams we have at the Série D, which is the 4th division of Brazil? I actually don't.
It is, I had that number from way back when I did the initial state championships videos. Give me 1 second. I will pull that up here because I still have my research notes from all of that.
Yeah, because they qualified to the 4th division through the state.
Yeah, it's 64 clubs divided in 8 groups, regional division at that point. So, and
which is what the US could do, by the way.
Yeah, the format for Série D is chaotic might be an understatement, to be completely honest. 64 teams in total, 8 groups that are more so like regional locked to an extent. They play, I believe it's round robin between them, and then they divide into like playoff type situations to eventually determine like 4 teams that will eventually go up to Série C. So, and then qualification for Série D is also not really determined by how well you do that year in Série D. It's determined by how well you're doing in the state competitions. And the rankings that the Brazilian FA provides allow certain states to have like 4 teams from their state to go up to Série D. Some have 3, some have 2, some have only 1. So it's a dogfight to get into that stage of the competition. And one of those things
it is an open pyramid, and clubs can move up the ranks, which is
true.
You made an entire video about that, I think. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
When was it again?
It was last year, so that's why.
I remember. It was before the Texter one, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was after the Texter one. It was the next one.
Or right after, right?
Not the focal one. Yeah.
Because I watched the Texter one. I remember that. I liked that one. It was good.
Which again, just what a story in and of itself for them to go from bottling a league in the worst way possible to winning a domestic and continental double the following year. But good for Botafogo. Like, their fans were overdue for something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of clubs. The thing that you mentioned there, the clubs in the Série D in the state that qualify to it, that's the structure that the US should adopt.
I agree. It would be a really good structure with the amount of states and just the amount of really land that there is to cover in the US. Having those divisions between 4 to 8 areas that are specific to regions in the country, and basing your teams around that would be a really solid call, in my opinion.
So Simeone's coming on.
Yep, he's coming on, and that's almost a 4th goal there off an own goal situation. Bento, to his credit, outside of the mishaps he's had, he has locked in a little bit more, but just it might be too little too late at this point. Argentina are doing a good job of just fouling whenever Brazil gets forward enough, getting enough bodies on them, and just slowing the pace of the game down. Savinho coming on for Cunha from the looks of it here as well. Which Savinho does give us a little more speed at the wing, so that could be how that happens.
So Rafinha might become a 10.
I'm guessing so, yeah. That would be my logic with it.
They're saying, Thiago said, I don't think the US has that many teams. We do.
They do. 100%. Yeah.
And also, if we had an open pyramid, there would be more like small investors making small clubs. So we would be fine. I mean, MLS alone has like 30 now, right? MLS alone.
Yeah.
And then USL across all divisions, what is it, 20-something? USL might have almost 60 across everything.
I think, range-wise, I think it's somewhere between 60 to 70. I'd have to double-check.
Yeah, I think just with MLS and USL, you get close to 100 clubs. And then you have like UPSL, which is very much amateur. But, I mean, if it was an open pyramid, there would be investment there. NISA is around. So, no, the US does have enough clubs for sure.
So, 24 in the USL Championship. let's see here. And then League One it
14,
is
right? League One.
14. Yep, and then I guess League Two would be the next one down from that. Let me say. You on the USL as a whole, there's 182 men's clubs for that, and then
So
obviously, yeah, MLS next as well too. I guess it's another thing.
So, Mikey, that's a good question, and I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability. So, I'm going to say two things. One, we just hit minute 69. Nice. That's the
Nice.
first thing. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I want to say is watch Chris's video at Brazilian Fury. The link's in the description where he explains the structure of Brazilian football. But let me try to oversimplify and explain it here. The thing that we talk about structures, the US is a big country like Brazil. The US actually is a bit bigger than Brazil. So bigger than Brazil. Also diverse weather, a lot of travel. So what the US should do is you have the first division, which you only get to the first division through promotion of the second division. Then you only get to the second division through promotion of the third division. And then you only get to the third division getting promoted from the fourth division. Now, the fourth division is very much regional. So you have multiple groups in the US per region, like the Midwest, the South, like just the Northeast, whatever, the West Coast. You do it by region. Why? Because these small clubs don't have the money and resources to travel as much. And to qualify to the fourth division, shit, Argentina just scored.
Yep, just saw it.
Okay, sorry, I'll go back to explaining in a second, but oh my, Simeone just got in.
Yep,
4-1.
Yep.
Wesley again, dude. Was it Wesley there?
Yeah, I think it was.
Look who's here, Adrian.
Adrian, hello. Welcome to us hate watching our own country here. It's yeah, fun times.
Did you know that Adrian is, I would say, we wanted to do this channel, but he's probably the big reason why we did it. Did you know why?
No, I didn't.
So he asked me to come as a guest about a video on Brazil's downfall. And I went to his channel, we made the video, and the video got like huge numbers. I think from what he told me, is one of the best performing videos over the past few months even. And then I even started talking, it's like, what if I started a channel covering Brazil? And we talked about it for a while, and then the conversation here and there.
Yeah.
And then me and Dustin just like, all right, let's just start it slowly. And then we started it slowly. And to be honest, it grew a lot faster than I expected because it just got like monetized super quickly.
The Prem video, the Brazil comparison to the Prem League video definitely did the trick on that. So
that
stuff.
On its own, exactly. And then the other videos, they've been getting okay views. They've been doing all right.
Yeah, they've been doing good.
Rabona is saying, this is my channel. No, but there's a special place in the heart of this channel for Rabona TV, which, by the way, we got to bring him on the channel at some point. We got to bring Adrian.
The trio.
You're my first guest here. Chris, you're my first guest.
See, there we go. Nice. Lovely stuff. But yeah, it's been super interesting in terms of like covering Brazil related stuff over the past year and a half. I still do a little more variety here and there with it. But again, the Brazilian videos have been the ones that sort of have been the ones who have popped off the most. Between the state championships one that happened, the Botafogo one was a big one that kind of kickstarted that set of ideas. And then I did the Grenal video about the Grêmio International rivalry as well. That turned out pretty well. Like, a lot of Grêmistas and a lot of Colorados in the comments just blasting each other. I'm like, hey, if that's going to help the algorithm boost it up, by all means, go for it.
They found the video.
They did. I did help by making Portuguese subtitles for it too. I think that may have just like helped it considerably, but yeah, kind of just bad experience overall in terms of this game. Yeah. Please, I hope Dorival gets fired.
Let me ask you one thing right now. Look, we're already getting humiliated anyway. Would you be okay with Argentina scoring another goal or two if that meant Dorival's gone today?
Fuck it. Might as well. Just make this a full national embarrassment. That's the only way they're going to be bullied into making a decision.
It's what they say in Brazil, Chris. What's another fart? if you already had explosive diarrhea all over your pants?
Pretty much.
Right? It's just another fart. Like we already shit ourselves. What's another fart gonna do? Is the coach officially fired? Who's gonna be next? I don't know who will be next, but will the coach be fired? If they get number 5 here, there is maybe a possibility. Even though, honestly, with Aguinaldo, the thing with Brazil too is who do they hire? Is Carlo Ancelotti free this summer?
I think he re-signed with Real Madrid in the first place. I don't know for how long, but I do remember he signed an extension with them when the Aguinaldo was touting that they were going to go and get him like last summer for Copa America. So
yeah,
it's just again,
Nico Paz.
Nico Paz is coming in. Yeah, though again, like we're cooked. If Nico Paz is coming in, we are cooked. And you know what? Credit to Argentina. They took this shit seriously from the get-go, even without some of their key players. So
I think Brazil did too. We're just not very good. We're not well coached. The mentality of the players is not there. The players were used to Neymar just carrying them for years. And then when Neymar is not there anymore, they're like, oh, now I have to actually take responsibility and actually do stuff. I can't just have Neymar pull a magic trick out of nowhere and carry us. Yeah, you can't. You have to do something. And they're not up for it. And they also let Neymar down on the World Cup because he did carry them and it didn't work. So,
oh yeah, he was literally the guy that decided to put the team on his back on that Croatia game, and then Tite just decided to like not adjust tactically to the second half of that extra time. Croatia scores, and then the mess on penalties happens. So, yeah, generational crash out.
oh, okay. Mikey Piff. Okay, let me go back to explaining because then Argentina scored. So again, as I told you, Division 1, you get through the second one, third one, second one, and then fourth to the third one. But to get to the fourth, first and foremost, Division 1, 2, and 3, it's national. So we can use like Eastern Conference and Western. We can do that because the US, I do like that concept because of how spread out the country is in time zone. So we have Western Conference and Eastern Conference for Division 1, 2, and 3. Fourth division is regional. So the South, the West, maybe the Midwest. Like you make the regional according to what you can do. And the teams that qualify to the fourth division are the ones that are through the state tournament. So through the state, and of course, not the teams. Obviously, there's going to be teams in the state tournament that'll be in the first division. That can happen. Or what the U.S. can do is not have any teams from Division 1, 2, and 3 play in the state tournament. You just have the smaller clubs playing the state tournament because it lowers travel cost. It makes it local and it makes it more affordable for teams that have small investors. That way they can invest small, try to win the state tournament, qualify to the regional, which is the fourth division. And then obviously through the regional, the ones that win the regional, they go play some playoffs after the regional to qualify to the third division. So the structure is essentially national, regional, state. That's the structure that I envision for the United States, because then that allows clubs and teams that are like smaller with smaller investment to travel less and just stay within their state. And if they win their state, they'll get more money and they'll go to the regional. So that's how I envision it. Obviously, that's an oversimplified manner. Maybe I should actually do a video, not like yours explaining the Brazil one, but maybe a tactical manager do a video explaining my vision for U.S. soccer. That might be an interesting video.
I think I was muted for a second here just as I was adjusting a couple things. But no, I do agree that it would be an interesting concept for you to tackle on the channel, and that ideally would drive up the engagement for people to agree, disagree, pitch their own ideas in the comments,
Call me a Euro snob, right?
Yeah, something like that. Also, Amy Martinez trolling is one of the more expected things. I almost think we should have gotten Kevincho to be a part of this too, just so that way there would be some semblance of joy in this chat right now, because I can't
bring an Argentine. I can't bring him when we're getting our asses kicked.
Look, man, at this point, I'm just willing to do anything that we can to get Dorival Jr. out of here. If it means having an
Yeah.
Argentina more years about it, so be it.
Also, let's be real. Losing 5-1, losing 3-1, 6-1. At this point, it doesn't matter. So whatever gets Dorival fired.
Mhm.
It's funny because it kind of matches my video.
It really does. It's like very much you can kind of point at the video now and going, see, well, look what I told you. Look what I told you. Look what just happened.
I should reshare. It's like, guys, we saw this coming.
But I mean,
And here comes Argentina.
You're at what now,
Taco?
Taco?
Bento with a brilliant save. That was almost number 5. Paredes with a beautiful long shot.
Okay, the shot's coming on my stream here over the phone. So yeah, that's
Arana fucking sucks, man.
Yeah. I think really the biggest weakness from like the players' side of the spectrum right now, our fullbacks are just trash at the moment. Like they need to bring in better they need to give like better fullbacks like chances at the national team if they're gonna keep this up. Like it's clearly not working between Wesley and Arana. Danilo wasn't working out, so like try some newer people at this juncture. Try to see if they can find somebody who sticks.
Yeah, the only good thing about this is my Brazilian coaches video might pop out of nowhere tomorrow when people are just all trying to shit on the coaches.
Mm-hmm. We'll take a look.
That's what's gonna happen. You should make a video next week about the collapse of Brazil or downfall or something. It'll just pop out of nowhere.
Oh man, I'm kind of waiting. It feels like it's one of those projects which we got to analyze after the 2026 World Cup. Just do basically the downfall of the Brazilian national team dating back to that 7-1 loss against Germany and how it's been shell-shocked pretty much since.
That might be a good next video for me to make, the scary downfall of the Brazilian national team. Yeah. It's like, am I allowed to make a positive video these days? That's all I make negative because Brazil and the US, both of them give me nothing good to talk about.
No. Life is pain at this particular moment, Tax, so we might as well just embrace it and try to get some coin out of it.
It's like, can you make one positive video? God, I wish.
If only.
And
I kind of feel bad because I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's positive topics I could talk about. And then I just realized the video that I'm editing to go up at the channel by the end of this week is, hey, here's 6 Brazilian wonder kids who failed miserably in Europe. Have fun, everybody.
That's another one. It's like everything's like negative. I kind of wanted to make a video about Zico. That could be a positive video. I was gonna call it like the forgotten Brazilian legend because the dude was like incredible in a Brazilian legend, but no one talks about him outside of like Brazil or Flamengo fans, which is unfair.
Zico would be a good call, especially because if you really think about it, this sort of gap that we're seeing now with Brazil, and I think it ties into Jeff Zidano's question of who's to blame for Brazil's downfall. I think there are a couple of factors. I think the federation is a big part in it. Just a lot of complacency within them, bad coaching hires, not as much of an investment, I think, in modernizing the game, modernizing the coaching, really becoming a little more modern in their way of thinking.
Yeah, it's what I said in the video.
Bad coaching hires doesn't help. I think there's also helps. Has been kind of a part of it as well too. But if you think about it as well, from 1970 until 1994, when Brazil won their 4th World Cup, there was that 20-plus year gap where Brazil was not winning World Cups either, even though they had guys like Zico kind of heading the line. So there's kind of a nice, interesting comparison you can make as well in terms of World Cup title droughts, because Brazil has experienced 20-plus year title droughts in the past between 1970 to 1994, and we're kind of in one right now between 2002 going into 2026 and counting. So yeah, I know. I want to say, I think in terms of a Garrincha video, that wouldn't be a bad idea to do either. Postão could possibly be an interesting one too. It's there's a lot of Brazilian icons from way back in the day that we could talk a whole.
There's a lot of them that people don't talk about because they mainly remember Ronaldo, Romário, Pelé.
Yeah.
Jeff Serrano says, "Who's to blame for Brazil's downfall?" And it's interesting because Chris already touched upon one, the federation, right? And it does all start within that. That's one of them. I do think also Brazilian culture is a big issue. As I talked about in the video, it seems like the coaches, they don't want to like update themselves, and even the clubs, everyone, they don't want to study, learn, and improve. So we're going to continue to develop talent. Brazil will always have talent, but it almost feels like the sport there doesn't feel as professional as it should be. And then nowadays the world is caught up, so Brazil's not better by a landslide like they used to be. So just having talented players is not enough. Like I think to tackle this topic of who's to blame for Brazil's downfall, it's not one person, it's not one entity. There's a lot of different small things that you need to address. But it's something that's actually very easy to address. There's nothing that is like hidden.
Yeah, it's let's see.
Yeah, I'll probably.
Point, it's a good video idea for down the line for sure. But again, yeah, just and with this particular game specifically, again, Rafinha talking all that shit that he did with Romário to do absolutely nothing in this game. Like, people do need to get on him for that. Vinicius Jr. going invisible yet again. Terrible. Andrew taking a yellow card, at the very least, is trying to show something. So you know what? I'll take that over. Like, him getting fired up at the referees is at least showing some semblance of fucking passion compared to the rest of this team right now.
Yeah, what's insane though is when you look at the players Brazil has, the team is not meant to be this bad.
No. It's like they do well against the teams that they're supposed to beat, but against good teams in South America, they're just getting squashed. And Argentina just proved that again. So
this team is complete and utter ass.
Oh yeah, Rafinha definitely could have responded better. IDK on his side of the spectrum, like Romário goaded him into a couple of those answers to like maybe try to fire him up. But in a situation like this, where you're still kind of you're not like the dominant team like you used to be. Just yeah. Oh yeah, I've been watching the game on the phone because if I was doing it on the internet here on the computer, it was causing the slowdowns. Turns out I just need to update my internet basically at this point.
Yeah, this team is legitimately. The thing is, they're saying like the issue is like lack. I don't think the issue is lack of effort. They are fighting. They're trying. I just don't. They just can't play. Like some of these guys shouldn't be here. The two fullbacks probably shouldn't be there. I also don't think João Gomes is good enough. I didn't like him when he played for Flamengo. I still don't think he's good enough.
Yeah. I think
I
as a
honestly,
substitute option, he's fine, but as a starter, no, definitely not. It's a situation where I think we have talented forwards right now, but we're still settling a lot of positions. Yeah, those fullbacks, they need to figure out consistent guys to be there for the national team side. But I think most importantly, try to figure out who are like two very good young fullbacks and try to develop them to be like your long-term starters as a whole. So.
yeah. Are there any Brazilians in the chat, by the way? I see a lot of the Americans, right?
We've seen a couple popping in here and there from what I could see throughout the course of the chat here. So, boa noite para todos. Estamos fudidos, mas é o que acontece.
I like that you go curse in Portuguese, so no one really gets it or censors us.
Exactly. There we go. That's the strat right there.
And then Tyler Lewis is saying Andre Santos not being here is also probably it's actually quite surprising. Andre has been playing very well in France. Personally, I think he's a much better talent than João Gomes, for example. But he hasn't made it. Also, much more goal dangerous than João Gomes and a better defender, in my opinion, too, that's developing. Probably should be with Chelsea next year. They're saying, why is Bruno Guimarães not in the lineup? He's suspended or injured. Now I can't remember.
It's one of the two. Yeah, I don't remember which one, but he had
not available.
Bruno Guimarães has not been that good to begin with over the last couple of games with the Brazilian national team. Like, he's good at Newcastle, sure, but with the national team, he hasn't really put all that many good performances, in my opinion. A lot of boneheaded plays from his side.
Yeah, not the same Bruno Guimarães that we see for Newcastle. Under wraps, he's from Minas Gerais in Brazil, right next to Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, majority of my mother's side of the family are from close to Belo Horizonte on their end, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a disappointment. But everyone, if you guys kindly could hit the like button, subscribe, and go check out our videos too. This is the first stream. And my guest here, Chris Brazilian Fury, his channel, as we talked about already, Brazil coverage as well, along with many other topics. Football Manager, his link or his handle is in the description of this video. You guys can just click on it and go check out his channel as well. As we both try to grow the Brazilian coverage in English, I think the only two channels that actually cover Brazil in English legitimately are us two in the world right now. Everything else, they do like random topics on Brazil, but there are no two channels that are dedicated to doing multiple videos about Brazil.
Yeah, I've seen a couple pop in here and there. I saw someone actually did do the Remo Paysandu derby, like an English.
Really? That one?
I thought that was interesting of all things. I think somebody recommended it to them on their comments and they just wanted it. They did a really good job with it. The channel is called Crone FC. So that was
God, Bento.
But again, it seems like they are like a mixture between like Portugal and then other different areas, but they've covered a couple of Brazilian things here and there. So that's interesting. Oh, Mikey, I did link that on the chat earlier. Let me grab it for you here. I will go ahead and
I'll put it on screen.
Oh, yeah, you can do that too. That might be the easiest way.
Because then he might be able to look for it.
Rights. Yeah.
But I mean, you don't upload too much, so they should be able to find it.
Yeah, I'm usually like it's every 2 to 3 weeks for me on uploads. It just depends on like when I'm able to actually like edit.
Is it the greatest? Is it football's greatest debate?
Greatest debate? Yes, the state championships. Yep, that's exactly the one.
So it's Brazil football's greatest debate, the state championship. So he uploaded 10 months ago. So go to his channel. The link's in the description, and then just scroll. It's not that deep into it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 8 to 9 videos into it. So you guys can find it there. It's a good video.
I have it put on the chat just now as well too, if you guys need a direct link to it. So yeah, and there's a section of it that will explain Série D as well. And for the Portuguese speakers, we have the Brazilians in the building. The audio is in English, but I have Portuguese subtitles to go with that. So you can just turn those on and you should be able to get that. Oh, somebody with an interesting question here. Who's the Alexi Lalas of Brazilian soccer? There's more than one. I can say that.
There's more than one. I would say the biggest voice.
Neto,
probably Neto, probably the biggest voice. But I mean,
Neto at least one thing, so he's better than Lalas by that perspective alone.
I think the biggest. Oh, Casagrande is the biggest idiot, probably.
There you go. Yep, that was the other one that came to mind.
Casagrande is the biggest idiot. He's really bad at like when it comes to commentating soccer. I don't know how he had a job. I don't know. I can't figure out how he got a job.
Just again, the thing with American soccer footy fans as a whole is that you get these MLS shows and pundits that are like pretty cringeworthy. But man, if you got, and I'm pretty sure like folks who are in England, Italy, and Spain can probably speak to it. If you're in a football-driven nation, the amount of just terrible punditry that you get on a weekly basis is astounding from multiple sources at that. Brazil has that. England most certainly has that. I'm sure Spain and Italy have their fair share of buffoons who just say shit without really knowing what they're talking about. So things of that nature.
Yeah, but everyone, it's getting late here. I think it's like 9 p.m. where you are, Chris, roughly, right?
8 right now, just turning 8 p.m.
Oh, so you're not Central
I'm
Time.
2
I
hours.
forgot that.
Yeah, I'm 2 hours behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna go here. It's been a really shit like international break, but hopefully you guys enjoyed going through this agonizing pain of being
Thanks
in
for keeping this
Brazil.
company.
Yeah. And guys, if you can subscribe to Chapéu Football, go check out our channel. If you're from Brazil, share the videos with your Brazilian friends. They can learn a little bit of English. There are subtitles, and we cover Brazilian soccer, Brazilian football here and there. And check out Chris from Brazilian Fury. So to close this stream, I'm going to do what I always do at Tactical Manager TV. We're going to play the Tactical Manager intro. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good night. Ciao.